When you need something big, you turn to Sonic this year. Gibbs does it again. Just runs away from him. So dynamic this year. What a run. What a running. Really kicked off the explosion. Lions score 50-plus points for only the 5th time in franchise history in Sunday's dismantling of the Tennessee Titans. Detroit controlled Week 8 after some early back and forth in what ended up turning into one of the most complete performances in Lions history. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Johnny Gaz. Thank you for returning for another video. Let's get into my Week 8 report card and hand out some grades for the Lions' explosion against the Titans. Let's go. Before we go to class, make sure to hit that like button if you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gaz Sports. I'd love it if you consider subscribing to the channel. We're just over 2,100 thanks to you guys. And if you hit the notify bell, you won't miss any future videos. There is a membership option available where I do all my live game play-by-play reactions, tier list, a ton of other fun content, but there is always free stuff for you here all the time. Make sure to comment down below. What did you think of this game against the Titans here in Week 8? This offensive and special teams explosion? Do you think the Lions still need some help along that defensive line? Definitely hit me up down in the comments. Let's dive into this Week 8 report card. Quick recap of Week 8. Lions win at home against the Tennessee Titans 52-14, improving to 6-1, their best start since 1956. Lions offense was about as efficient as they could be, 5 for 5 in the red zone. They were set up on short fields all day long, but they did have some protection issues that may have led to a Jared Goff ankle tweak. The defense was opportunistic, creating turnovers all day, but did have their pressure and sack issues, and we'll talk about what the Lions need to do with this moving forward. The special teams were marvelous. Khalif Raymond ran all over this football field with 190 punt return yards, and the Lions prove now that they are the most complete team in all of the NFL. Let's start with our offensive grades, starting with Jared Goff, the quarterback, who really didn't need to do much in this Week 8 matchup. Only had 85 total yards passing, the second lowest in his career, but he was super efficient, and that's all he really had to be. He went 12 of 15 and had 3 touchdowns in the short fields. Like we said, the Lions went 5 for 5 in the red zone. Now, because of the protection issues they had, Jared Goff was sacked 4 times and came out of this game with a tweaked ankle. He does say he's going to be fine, but it's something to monitor moving forward. The left side of this offensive line has been a little shaky the past couple of weeks. We'll have to keep our eye on it. But in general, Jared Goff was very good in this football game for what he was asked to do. The running backs, David Montgomery, again, didn't need to do much, but was truly efficient for what they needed out of him on Sunday. David Montgomery finished with 33 yards on the ground, did have the rushing touchdown, but I think more impressively was his halfback passing touchdown to Sam Laporta. What a great pass. It was a perfect spiral. It was between 2 defenders. It was a situation where he could have decided not to pass that football, but obviously had confidence in himself. In high school, he did play quarterback, so he clearly knows how to throw a football, and placed a dime to Sam Laporta on that touchdown pass. I thought the running backs were really fantastic. And again, on the back of Jahmyr Gibbs, who again was over 100 yards. He had 11 carries for 127 yards, his second 100-yard performance of the season in back-to-back games. He had the long of 70, which we came in this video. And again, the Sonic and Knuckles combination is truly dynamic, giving everything that the Lions need each week. They again had a week where they both had rushing touchdowns on the ground. The wide receiver group, who we knew would be without Jameson Williams, who is serving that 2-game PES suspension. I don't think the Lions offense missed J-Mo at all. Now, there could have been some scheming things, but the truth is the Lions didn't have a lot of long fields where I think that really was a factor, so I don't think they missed him much here. Amon-Ra St. Brown only had 2 receptions for 7 yards in a game where the Lions put out 52 points of production, but he did have the touchdown where he found himself wide open in a short field in the end zone. He's now scored touchdowns in 5 games in a row. Isaiah Williams, the young undrafted wide receiver, had his first reception. He ended up with 2 receptions on the day. That was good to see. And Khalif Raymond, another receiving touchdown on top of all the special teams glory he had, which we'll talk about here in a minute. but I thought Khalif Raymond was really good and sort of filled that role for Jamison Williams. Overall, I thought the wide receivers were very good. The tight ends, I thought, were even better. Sam Laporta had his best game of the season here in 2024. He led the team with 6 receptions for 48 yards, had the 1 receiving TD, and was very close to that second one, but was called short of the goal line there. I thought he was much more dynamic in this matchup. You saw Brock Wright come back in. He had the first score of the game with the 8-yard touchdown pass early on. It was National Tight End Day, so the Lions clearly wanted to get them involved early and often. I thought the tight end group was really good in this football game. And the offensive line, who we've already said, the left side, Taylor Decker, was a little bit shaky early in this football game. They ended up giving up 4 sacks, 3 in the first quarter alone, and Jared Goff came out of this matchup with an injured ankle. Now, he said he's going to be fine, and we'll monitor that. But again, I just think the Lions need to kind of revisit what they're doing with their pass protection, because on the other side of this, their run blocking, truly dynamic and the best in all of the NFL. That combined with the running back duo they have, truly difficult to stop. Overall, for the offense for this Week 8 performance against the Tennessee Titans, I am giving an A-. And part of that is because they just weren't asked to do much with a full field. Because of the turnovers, the penalties, the special teams play, the Lions had short fields all day. 5 for 5 in the red zone. 6 different Lions players ended up scoring in this matchup, which is incredible. Shows the dynamic ways that this offense could come at you, running the football, passing the football, using all of their weapons in this Week 8 matchup against the Titans. Again, they were very efficient. They had the pass blocking protection issues early, so we'll have to monitor that. But overall, I thought the offense was really good here in Week 8. Let's switch over to the defensive side of the football and start with our defensive line. And I think this is where the biggest questions exist for this Lions football team. With everything good that they're doing here in 2024, when the Aiden Hutchinson injury happened, you knew that pressure rate, sacks, all of that was going to be an issue. Now, after 2 weeks, they've put up huge offensive efficient performances. But the defensive line is clearly struggling in getting to maintaining a quarterback. And I think it's affecting other aspects of their defense, including their running game. Now, there are some good things that happened across this defensive line in this matchup. I thought Levi Onwuzurike looked good. I thought their interior guys, DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, also looked very good in this matchup. But I think setting the edges where they truly have the problem, the Titans were able to exploit the outside zone, outside edge running game. And the Titans were able to have the best running performance against the Lions here in 2024. They had 32 carries overall for 158 yards in this matchup. On top of that, I thought they allowed Mason Rudolph to do a lot of things early on in this football game that kept them in this for the first quarter. So again, the ultimate question is, do the Lions make a move to add a piece to this defensive line to bring them to the next level? The linebacking group I thought was good again in this game. And the unfortunate part was they lost Malcolm Rodriguez early on. He had injured himself on a special teams play and did not return to the game. We were being told that's not a serious injury, but his status is up in the air for the Week 9 matchup against Green Bay. Going back to this game against the Titans, again, I thought Jack Campbell was very good. He led the team with 11 tackles, 6 solo. Alex Anzalone had the team's sole sack in this game. I thought Trevor Nowaski filled in well. He had the early interception there of Mason Rudolph on a really bad throw there, but made the play and set the Lions up for their first score. So again, in general, I thought the linebacking group was good. I still think they lack a little bit in pass coverage, but the tackling is really excellent. Yards after catch are really hard to come by against this Lions linebacking crew. And again, I thought they were good in Week 8. Moving into the secondary, I thought they struggled early with that Mason Rudolph-Kelvin Ridley connection. I thought that was sort of unexpected. And it looked like they clearly didn't game plan for Ridley to be such a factor early and often. He had over 100 yards in the first quarter alone, but I thought the Lions adjusted well because that connection really didn't exist from that point forward. Amik Robertson I thought was good outside of being beat on that touchdown pass. He forced 2 fumbles in this game and has really been all over the field throughout this season so far for the Lions. Again, I thought Terrion Arnold was good in spots. He had a good pass breakup there midway through the game. I don't think Carlton Davis was tested really outside of early in this football game. So again, I thought they held up well in the secondary. Kirby Joseph had his interception, and he is clearly a ball hawk. Both those safeties, him and Brian Branch, who was hit with a couple penalties in this game, maybe warranted, maybe not, but I think they really are one of the better safety duos in all of the NFL. Overall, for the defense in this Week 8 matchup against the Titans, I will give them a B+. I thought they struggled early. I thought they gave up too much to Mason Rudolph and Kelvin Ridley early early on in this football game. The Mason Rudolph running touchdown was tough to see, but I thought they adjusted well. They took away that connection after that first quarter, and really the Titans offense disappeared in the second half. They did not score any points. That was really good to see. I also thought the Lions' end of the first half stand, the 4 plays on the goal line against the Titans, really kicked them off for this explosion in the second half. But the Lions' special teams performance in Week 8 against the Titans was perhaps the best I have ever seen out of an NFL football team. They were fantastic from top to bottom in every aspect of their special teams, and very much so earned a grade of A+ for Week 8. Let's go through some of the things they did in this game on special teams. Let's first start by giving credit to the Lions special teams coach Dave Phipp, who has been around the organization for several years. He is well respected and earned a game ball from Dan Campbell at the end of this matchup, very well deserved. Let's start with Khalif Raymond, who was all over the field in this matchup, not only offensively, but obviously through his special teams performance. He had 190 yards of punt returns and had the big 90-yard return for the touchdown score there. He was 19 yards short of the NFL record for punt return yards in a single game, and probably could have had it if he didn't hold himself up and wait for some blocks on one of those punt returns later in the game. Truly special performance by Khalif Raymond. Khalil Dorsey, the other returner, also had a 72-yard kick return during this game. Jack Fox, the punter, had an average of 61 yards gross and 56.2 yards net on his 5 punts in this football game. It is the first time in NFL history a punter has averaged 60 yards gross and over 55 yards net in a football game with over 5 punts. That is incredible that record is broken in a day where the Lions score 52 points. Sione Vaki forced a fumble on the first punt of that football game. Jake Bates hit his career-long field goal this season, 51 yards. He was also 7 for 7 on extra points. They were perfect on special teams here in Week 8. Speaking of Dave Phipp, let's talk about the coaching from this matchup against the Titans. And you got to start, obviously, with the special teams that we just came out of. What a masterclass performance by Dave Phipp and this coaching staff in general. Overall, the coaching's going to get an A here. Offense was truly efficient. Ben Johnson's scheme is second to none. He's the best offensive coordinator in all of the NFL. On the touchdowns that the Lions scored, if you go back and watch them, almost every single one of the passing touchdowns, those players were wide open, schemed up to where they weren't even being defended. The Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown, Khalif Raymond touchdown, the Brock Wright touchdown, all 3 of those players were almost unguarded. And that is strictly the scheme of Ben Johnson. Their red zone offense is almost unstoppable at this point. Defensively, we talked about the pressures being an issue. They're going to have to figure out what they want to do along this defensive line. I'm at the point now, this team has everything going for themselves. They need to add a piece. I'm not going to sit here and speculate on who that piece is going to be, but they have to add someone soon. Keep your eyes on the news here. I think something's coming very, very soon. But overall, again, I thought the coaching was very good. Special teams, fantastic. Defense did what they needed to do and was opportunistic. The offense, as efficient as possible. Overall, they get an A for their performance against the Titans. That's going to do it for my Week 8 report card. Let me know down in the comments, what grade would you have given the Lions offense, defense, and special teams for this 52-point output against the Titans? I think the Lions have now proven they are the most complete team in all of the NFL and stand just behind the Kansas City Chiefs, the only remaining undefeated team, but I think are making a strong argument that they may be the best team in all of the NFL. The Lions will now travel to Green Bay in Week 9 for a huge matchup against the Packers in what will determine who will be on top of the NFC North standings halfway through the 2024 NFL season. Definitely come back and see me. We'll do our full game preview this week. That should be a lot of fun. Make sure to hit that like button if you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gaz Sports. If you hit the subscription button and notify bell, you won't miss any future videos. I'd love it if you consider subscribing. We've just gone over 2,100 thanks to you guys. There's a membership option available. If you hit the blue join button on any of my videos, I'll walk you through how you can become a part of the family. But more than anything else, make sure to take care of yourself. Your mental health, that's more important than anything. I want to make sure you come back and see me on future videos. Thank you guys so much for your time. Go Lions.